First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
It was a big weekend for the Gator football team, easily handling New Mexico State in a 61-13 victory. But the battle isn't over between Treon Harris and Will Greer for the starting quarterback job.
And while the game was still going on, the New Mexico State team became victims of a burglary. One of their buses was broken into.
We'll have all those stories and more coming up. Good evening. It's Labor Day, Monday, September 7th. I'm James Torres.
And I'm Jenna Sands. Thanks for joining us. But first, the dark clouds and rain are not what we wanted to see on a holiday like today. And some outdoor plans may have been rained out. UF
forecaster Rebecca Kopelman is in the Weather Center right now. Rebecca, will we have a chance to get outside this evening?
It's going to be a similar story with the on and off activity, and right now there are even flood advisories in effect for Alachua and Gilchrist counties. So that could just tell you right there, if you have barbecue plans for tonight, it's not happening. Heavy rainfall with rainfall rates at 1 to 2 inches right near the city of Gainesville, about 1 inch an hour, just further south, even higher in portions of Alachua County by Newberry, 2 inches an hour, where there's already been an inch of rain that has fallen. So there could be even more rainfall, and localized flooding will be a possibility for this evening. So you definitely want to take it slow on the roadways. Some spots even seeing areas of 2 inches of rain, and we could have some more rainfall even through midnight tonight. I'll track more of that for you in my main weather forecast. Back to you.
Rebecca, thank you. Well, there's a new recall tonight that may leave some produce off the shelves for a while.
WUFT's Sydney Martin joins us now with more.
That's right, Jenna and James. Health officials believe that they may have found the source of a salmonella outbreak. Andrew and Williamson Fresh Produce has voluntarily recalled its cucumbers after one person in California has died and almost 300 people have become ill. Florida is one of the 27 states included in the recall. The cucumbers sold after August 1st were imported from Mexico with a limited edition label. Health officials believe these cucumbers are the likely source of the outbreak. This strain of salmonella is particularly dangerous for the elderly, infants, and people with weak immune systems. Last month, the unemployment level is at its lowest level since 2008, and labor experts say the shrinking job market may add stress to retailers' holiday hiring plans and delay your online orders. Online sales growth continued to outpace sales growth at physical stores, and experts say retailers are having trouble filling positions in their warehouses. If the trend continues, it could cause problems for retailers during the peak shipping days during the upcoming holiday season.
Sydney, thank you. Well, parents of Alachua County High School students will be receiving some important health information soon. Officials are updating the forms that allow parents to exclude their children from access to condoms at school. The opt-out procedure prevents students from requesting condoms from the school nurse, and the new forms will be ready to go in a couple of weeks.
Parents will receive the forms by email, and they'll be sent home with the students. But there may not be a lot of parents choosing to opt out for their children. WFT's Taylor Trichet reports.
Last school year, only 67 parents of high school students in all of Alachua County chose to not allow their kids to have access to condoms at school. As students settle into the new school year, the new opt-out form will be making its way home.
Now, we have to update the opt-out form this year, one, because we're in our second year, and one of the things we have to make clear to parents is that if they submitted a form last year, they do not need to submit a new form this year.
Last year, the opt-out program was created with the help of former Gainesville High School student Kyra Christmas, who created a club called Peers Advocating for Unified Services and Education.
What we found out is that they didn't want us having condoms on campus. My principal didn't want us handing condoms out. People didn't know that you could get condoms in the nurse's office on the down low. And then the superintendent officially put out a notice saying condoms shouldn't be on campus, they shouldn't be in the nurse's office, they shouldn't be anywhere.
Now in its second year, under the opt-out program, parents of high school students can complete and submit an opt-out form to their student's school if they don't want their child to get condoms from the school nurse.
Despite parents that I talked to who didn't receive any information about the opt-out form last year, this year parents can expect to receive some sort of notification if they want to take advantage of that form.
If they want their child to opt out, parents should be checking their emails.
They should be checking their child's backpack, which is something we encourage parents to do all of the time for those forms. It will be on our district's website as well. On the home page, it says parental opt-out information. They'll also be getting a message, an email message from their school principal, letting them know that that the form is on its way.
Parents who want to opt their children out of receiving condoms from the school's clinics should be expecting the updated forms in the next few days. In the meantime, parents are advised to make sure their contact information on file with the school is up to date. And it was a great opening weekend for the Gators, but New Mexico State was having some troubles off the field during the game on Saturday.
That's right. The staff bus for New Mexico State was broken into and all the bags were taken off the bus. WUFT's Paige Andringa is live now in front of Bennett Griffin Stadium. Paige, how exactly did this happen?
Well, guys, some say that it's because the bus driver wasn't paying attention. The New Mexico State bus was parked right here outside Bennett Griffin Stadium when they got burglarized on Saturday during the game. University of Florida police say that electronics, computers, and other items were taken from the bus which carried the coaches and Lebanon State staff members. The second bus which carried the New Mexico State football players was not disturbed. New Mexico State Athletic Director Mario Boca tweeted his frustration over the burglary, saying, "Well, it's a first. Our bus was broken into. Our whole athletic department staff and guest bags stolen inside. No joke." Now, this isn't the first time it's happened to New Mexico State. Last February, the basketball bus was broken into. However, things were returned in the end. Reporting live, Paige Andringa, WUFT News.
Paige, thank you. Well, police are trying to find out who killed a former University of South Florida defensive lineman. Elkino Watson was stabbed after an argument outside a Tampa club Sunday morning. Another person, Desmond Horn, was injured, but he is also expected to recover. Police say the scene looked horrific when they arrived.
When the officers arrived on scene, they found one subject collapsed behind the club. Another subject was in the parking lot attempting to get into a vehicle where he basically wasn't allowed to leave the scene by bystanders because he was bleeding so heavily.
The attackers managed to get away, and the police haven't arrested anyone just yet. Watson was one of the key defensive men for USF's roster last season and later spent time at the Chicago Bears training camp. The school said in a statement Watson had a big heart, a great smile, and he'll sorely be missed. Well, a new study from UF may have found a link between memory loss and early stages of Parkinson's disease.
For more on that and a state Supreme Court justice coming to town, we turn to health reporter Alexis Cruz.
James, Jenna, researchers have found that some Parkinson's disease patients may also be suffering from memory problems as well. A small study at the University of Florida compared brain scans of 40 people in the early stages of the disease and 40 other healthy adults. While most patients did not have significant memory lapses, nearly a quarter of the Parkinson's patients reported some cognitive decline. In those patients, only the brain scans revealed changes in the brain's gray and white matter. Experts say it's more important to determine which patients have memory problems because it could help tailor treatments to this disease. Florida Supreme Court Justice Jorge Labarga will be heading to Gainesville to undergo surgery this month after being diagnosed with cancer. The court announced Friday the 62-year-old Supreme Court Justice is expected to be hospitalized for a week at UF Health Shands after the removal of his kidney. Justice Labarga has been serving the Supreme Court since 2009 and is expected to return to work soon after the operation. Justice Barbara Pariente will be serving as acting Chief Justice until Labarga fully recovers.
Thanks, Alexis. 2 South Florida officers recognized for their random acts of kindness. The officers were given a free meal at Arby's.
And that's when they decided to serve up a delicious deed. Robin Simmons has a story.
What would you do if you were being given free food for 24 hours?
Just want to say thank you guys very much for everything you do on a daily basis.
Officers Jonathan Greenleaf and Tyler Reek from Coral Springs Police Department being congratulated by their chief after they chose to give their free meals offered by Arby's to a homeless man in the area.
Arby's offered free meal for a uniformed police officer. So we took that upon ourselves that, instead of letting us eat, help the less fortunate and provide our meal that was given to us to Robert.
They took up Arby's offer to all those who serve and fed a man they knew was hungrier than they could ever be. Robert is someone these officers know well, and they figured he'd appreciate the gesture.
When we first approached Robert, he actually was kind of caught off guard. I mean, he was very thankful. We obviously gave him a ride down to Arby's in the patrol car and got him out there, and he was very, whatever he wanted on the menu, we went ahead and ordered for him.
Robert thankful for these 2 men in uniform, and you can see his smile here in these pictures, which found their way to Facebook.
He was grateful. He was, like Officer Reich said, he was a little caught off guard. He was a little embarrassed by the attention. He would, he obviously he wasn't looking for attention for anything, just like we weren't. But he was grateful at the end of the day. I gave him a ride back to where he normally hangs out, and he gave me a thumbs up, and he said, anything I can do for you guys, just let me know.
The act of kindness, not just a win for the police department and this man.
I was very proud to discover that the officers at this police department were so genuine and giving this week.
It also proves to be a win for Arby's, the company making headlines across the country after a drive-thru employee at their Pembroke Pines location reportedly wouldn't serve an officer.
They had an unfortunate incident, involved a couple of their employees, and you don't want to hold that against an entire corporation for one small incident.
Well, the officers say Robert is someone who is always respectful, kind, and always offers his help, so for them it was a no-brainer that they could help him in return. Well, WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, researchers are digging up a part of St. Augustine's history. More on what they're uncovering coming up.
Plus, we will have a look at the box office this weekend, that and more during entertainment news.
And I'll break down what you can expect in this week's weather after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. University of Florida researchers have been unearthing an important piece of history.
Archaeologists have discovered and are uncovering a 17th century mission church in St. Augustine. WUFT's Renee Beninati joins us from the newsroom with more. Renee, what can you tell us about what you learned at the site?
It was definitely an exciting experience at the Nombre de Dios Mission Church in St. Augustine. Here, in an area that looked like your average park, archaeologists discovered and were uncovering a 17th century church, and they were happy to share their story.
In 1951, the director of the mission grounds here, Father Charles Spellman, he was an amateur archaeologist, and he had conducted some excavations on the property, but left no records behind. And when the Catholic Church moved their archives to St. Augustine, one of the sisters found some notes that she immediately recognized were archaeological. He reported that he had found some sort of stone structure. He didn't know what it was. So in 2011, I came out here to do a survey with just doing small trenches the width of a shovel to try and locate these stone foundations that he found. And with the third shovel in the ground, I actually hit the foundation, which is unheard of in archaeology to find something that quickly.
Well, this is the site of the 1677 mission church that was built under the orders of Governor de Hita y Salazar.
So we're looking at the interior of those buildings to get a better idea of the daily activities and what's going on the inside of the structures. There's not much written about the daily lives of the Native Americans that were here, and it's only through archaeology that we can really give a voice to these people that have no voice historically. The artifacts that we've recovered from the site are very diverse. A lot of Native American materials, which is not surprising since this was primarily a Native American community. But we also find Spanish artifacts related to construction, such as nails, but also the pottery. All of the artifacts and the field records that we take will go back to the museum in Gainesville, and then hopefully within another year or two we'll get funding and come back out and work on other portions of this building.
Without someone to dig up the past, we don't know what came before us, and it's all part of our history, our story.
Researchers are expecting to wrap up the excavation by the end of this week. They will then bring back their findings to the university, where they will then conduct a further analysis. Waters hopes to come back to the site within a year or two to uncover the other areas of the community. Reporting from the newsroom, Renee Beninati, WUFT News.
Renee, thank you. Well, while archaeologists are digging up history in St. Augustine, this weekend marked a huge milestone for that city.
And our very own entertainment reporter, Laura Barrero, was there this weekend and joins us to tell us all about it.
That's right. Hundreds of residents from all over the world joined us here in Florida this weekend and went to St. Augustine to celebrate its 450th anniversary. St. Augustine was the first permanent European settlement, the site of the first Catholic parish church, the first city of government, and home to the first free black settlement. City officials have been planning the 450th anniversary since 2009, when an act of Congress established a federal commission to celebrate milestone events in American history that took place in the town. Over the last 5 years, St. Augustine residents and officials have increased the number of tourist attractions to extend awareness to St. Augustine heritage and traditions. Every year they celebrate the anniversary of the settlement, but this year they added events that lasted 7 days.
We do it every year, but this year, of course, is very special. We're going to have a whole group of hand-picked reenactors out there, the people that really do truly portray the 16th century. And there'll be this commemorates the big solemn mass and the cannons and the formal possession of Florida.
Tomorrow is the last day of the festivities, but in 2 weeks, St. Augustine residents are expecting a visit from the King and Queen of Spain. Straight Outta Compton was knocked off the #1 spot this weekend at the box office. War Room came in at #1 this holiday weekend. The faith-based drama made more than $9 million. Straight Outta Compton fell to 2nd place, while The Walk in the Woods premiered in 3rd place. Bono took part in an event aimed at fighting hunger in Milan, Italy. Johnny Depp was also in Italy promoting his movie, and Katy Perry fell off a Segway at a music festival. Here's a quick recap of this weekend's headlines. A candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2005, Bono brings a social conscience to his songs and speeches, speaking out for the world's poorest. This lead singer was welcomed by the world officials, including Prime Minister of Italy, the Ministers of Agriculture in Italy and Ireland, and the Director of the World Food Program. The event was organized to support the efforts of the World Food Program, a United Nations agency. Then there's Johnny Depp, who arrived to his movie premiere in Venice, Italy, via water taxi. Hundreds of fans camped out for more than 12 hours before the premiere just to catch a glimpse of the movie star. And Katy Perry posted this video on Instagram with the caption, "Obvious first-time burner alert." The actress Susan Sarandon also attended the week-long event and paid tribute to the late friend Timothy Leary by spreading his ashes at an art installation.
Thank you, Laura. Well, this Labor Day, the Vice President made a visit to a labor union rally in Pennsylvania.
WUFT's Leah Shills has our political news. Leah?
Thanks, James and Jenna. Joe Biden pumped up labor union crowds today talking about labor, taxes, college affordability, and the 2016 race. With speculation swirling over whether he'll run for president, Vice President Joe Biden says he is angry about the decline of unions. Biden wore a United Steelworkers cap and told the energized crowd that labor unions have been clobbered in recent years. He praised the union workers as the foundation for the middle class and blasted policies he says favor Wall Street over wage earners.
Why in God's name should a man or woman working a steel mill making $50,000 a year pay at a higher rate than someone makes tens of millions of dollars on Wall Street? I mean, I'm serious. By the way, this is not politics, this is real.
Biden also praised presidential candidate Bernie Sanders for his campaign, and when a person in the crowd shouted out for Biden to run for president, he responded with, "I've got to talk to my wife about that."
Leah, thank you. It's been raining on and off for what seems like days now.
Rebecca's tracking today's rain and if we can expect any relief this week. Rebecca?
I am tracking lower rain chances as we head towards the middle of the week, but for right now, we still have heavy rainfall moving through North Florida. That's even sparked some flood advisories in all of Alachua County and in Gilchrist County as this rain continues to move through the area. Even some thunder in there and some areas of lightning. Even though our temperatures have been held down today, there is still lightning occurring, especially northeast of Gainesville, and rainfall rates are possibly between 1 and 2 inches, especially over the airport where the heaviest rain is falling, starting to lighten up in the city, but we can still expect a few more rounds of rainfall in the area. And this flood advisory is in effect for both Alachua and Gilchrist until 6 o'clock this evening. That's where there's been upwards of 2 inches of rain in some spots have already fallen, and rain has continued in portions of Marion County as well. And we can even have some more rain later on tonight. A new flood advisory, or there is also another flood advisory in portions of Union County. That will expire at 5:30. That's where there has been at least 2 inches of rain, or around 2 inches of rain there. But as I mentioned, there could be rainfall later on today. We've exceeded now an inch of rain over the campus of the University of Florida. Not looking too pretty out there. Only got a high of 85 degrees because of the on and off rainfall. That's being caused by a disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico, bringing several rounds of rain, and it's not quite over just yet. Through 9 o'clock, there could be a few more showers, possibly some heavy rainfall in Gainesville and portions of Marion County. Starting to dry out, though, from south to north throughout the evening hours, and by midnight, most inland areas will be dry. Could be a few lingering showers, though, near the Nature Coast. For tomorrow, this low pressure will still be plaguing our area, will be the driving force for some heavy rain once again. It will be a little bit less in coverage, though, and will likely start a little bit later on in the day, around noon near I-75, pushing eastward. The highest coverage will be towards the east coast near Highway 301, and east of that, that's where most of the activity will be, and we'll start to clear out later or a bit earlier compared to today for tomorrow. Now, this moisture is going to start to move out as this low pressure continues to move north and northeast across the state and into portions of the southeast, going to take all of this deep moisture with it. So that's why rain chances are going to start to drop for the middle of the week. On Tuesday, though, we still have this deep green over us. By Wednesday, starts to lighten up just a bit and lightens up even more by Thursday. So we'll have lower coverage and we'll have a very fast wind out of the west. So that's going to send most of the activity to the east coast. There'll be quick, spotty showers for both Thursday and Friday. So here's your 6-day forecast. Elevated rain chances for tomorrow, mainly between 1 and 7 for inland areas, and then lower chances for rain Wednesday through Friday, increasing by the weekend. Back to you.
Rebecca, well, in case you missed it, the Florida Gator football team finally got their season started this past weekend.
Our sports anchor Jonathan Perez joins us with more.
James, Jenna, what an exciting way to start the 2015 in the swamp for the Florida Gators. When we come back, I'll have highlights from the game, and I'll tell you about some of the changes to the roster this week. Stay with us. Sports is next. Welcome back to Sports. I'm Jonathan Perez. The Florida Gator football team's opening day winning streak is now at 26 games after blowing out New Mexico State 61-13 on Saturday. Both quarterbacks Treon Harris and Will Greer got into a rhythm early on, and by the end of the night, they combined for 5 touchdowns and passed for 381 yards. Jim McWayne said today he was pleased with how they performed. He'll split the reps again on Saturday.
You know, both guys, I think, did a good job. Both guys moved the team. You know, we'll kind of look at that, and I'll let you know like I did. You know, we'll play both, you know, next week as far as how we'll do it. I'm sure it'll be similar.
Florida released its depth chart today for this week's matchup. There's a surprise at the wide receiver position. Demarcus Robinson had a game-high 6 receptions against New Mexico State, but now he's listed as the third-string wide receiver. McWayne said the depth chart doesn't indicate how many reps the player will have. He will be playing this weekend. And now breaking down Saturday's victory, the 61 points Florida scored is now the most points scored for a new Florida head coach in their first game. This past Steve Spurrier's 50 points in 1990 and Ron Zook's 51 in 2002. Florida's offense was firing on all cylinders as they reached 606 total yards. They utilized all 3 of the running backs, and each one had parts of the game where they shined. Kelvin Taylor rushed 54 yards on 8 carries, and he also rushed for a touchdown, while Jordan Scarlett and Jordan Cronkite each rushed for touchdowns as well. Now in the air, Florida threw the ball to 14 different receivers, and they were able to utilize their tight ends Jake McGee and Keontae Lewis effectively. Well, college football has officially begun, but in the NFL season will get underway this Thursday night, which means teams have made the final cuts to this roster this past weekend. Last year's Florida team with a 7-5 record produced 8 players who were drafted in the NFL, and after Saturday's final roster move, 7 made the cut. In the NFC, there were 4 players: Matt Jones, Chaz Green, DJ Humphries, and Trent Brown. Over in the AFC, Dante Fowler, Max Garcia, and Neron Ball all made the 53-man roster. College football continues its action tonight when the defending national champs, the Ohio State Buckeyes, take on Virginia Tech. If you recall last year's matchup between the two, it was the Hokies who beat Ohio State and gave the Buckeyes their only loss of the season. Head coach Urban Meyer still has not said if he will start Cardell Jones or JT Barrett. Tonight's game kicks off at 8 o'clock. The Tampa Bay Rays played some afternoon baseball today against the Detroit Tigers, still fighting for that second wild card spot. We started in the top of the fourth. Tampa, they trail 2-0 until Evan Longoria changes that with one swing. Bye-bye, baby. He smacks that ball to left field for the 2-run homer, his 19th of the year. Now in the bottom half of the inning, Detroit, they answer back with their two-run homer of their own off the bat of James McCann. Detroit takes a 4-2 lead. Then in the bottom of the seventh, it's a home run derby in Detroit. Rajay Davis goes yard for the second time today. He gives the Tigers their last run of the game. A total of 5 homers in the game, and Tampa loses this one 5-4. The Rays are now 5 games back for the second wildcard spot. The Marlins' playoff hopes are long gone, and so is any chance of winning this game. They lose to the Brewers 9-1 after Milwaukee scores 5 runs in the 5th inning. Milwaukee's Chris Davis finished the day with 2 for 5 with a solo home run in the 4th. Justin Nicolino receives the loss after pitching 4 1/3 innings. Before we go, one last...
It's okay. Thanks, Johnny. But before we go, one last check on the weather.
Here's Rebecca Copeland.
We still have heavy rain moving through the area. Flood advisories in effect for Alachua and Gilchrist until 6 o'clock tonight. So you definitely want to take it slow if you're heading on the roads. Not the greatest day for any outdoor plans for Labor Day. Could have a few more showers even through 9 o'clock tonight. That may continue through about midnight before inland areas dry out. A few showers may linger just along the nature coast for this evening. For tomorrow, rain chances still elevated, a little bit lower in coverage, and from 1 to 7 o'clock, lower rain chances though for the middle of the week before they increase once again by the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thank you at home for watching WUFT News First at 5. We'll see you again tomorrow, but WUFT is always on at WUFT.org.
And here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7 o'clock. Have a safe Labor Day and good night.